Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld with Kimberly Guilfoyle. Juan Williams, Eric Bowling, and a pea pod is her sleeping bag. Dana Perino, La 5. I eat her all the time. Welcome back to the latest episode of...
Oh my God.
Yes, it was Rachel Maddow's Y2K. As we sit on the brink of a nuclear showdown with North Korea, this manic mouthpiece fixates on a 12-year-old tax return belonging to Trump, and boy, did she sell it like a timeshare in a Florida swamp. It was ShamWow meets Shark Tank without the charm and twice as smug.
Oh my God.
It's been a little bit of a hullabaloo around here this evening. I apologize for being a little flustered.
People literally were tweeting at me, "Shut up, get to Rachel."
We've got some significant breaking news tonight. Donald Trump's tax returns have surfaced, at least a portion of Donald Trump's past tax returns. This is the first time we believe any federal tax returns for Donald Trump have been obtained by anyone, certainly by any news organization, since he became a presidential candidate, let alone president.
Oh, my God. But rather than tell us anything up front, she tap dances like a barefoot drunk on hot sand. Maybe she'll break the news to us now.
Tonight, we have this exclusive first look at their reporting at what they have obtained. In just a second, we are going to show you exactly what it is that we've got. Whether or not you are a supporter of Donald Trump in general, whether or not you care what's in his tax returns, it ought to give you pause that his explanation for why he couldn't release them.
Oh, jeez. So the more she delayed, the more we sense that maybe the tip of the iceberg is just a tip and there is no iceberg. But maybe she'll tell us everything now.
Is he not as rich as he says he is? Is he not as charitable as he says he is? Was he, in fact, under audit when he was using that as an excuse to not release his tax returns? Was that worse than just a bad excuse? Was he really being audited? There's small reasons to be interested, right? There will continue to be unrelenting pressure to find Donald Trump's tax returns, to expose Donald Trump's tax returns. And I am sure it is only the start, but it's a start. And our little piece of it, we just got it. We'll go through it next.
Next. What is wrong with her? A hybrid of Alex Jones and Alex Trebek, all trick, no treat. Let's give her one more chance.
Let me give you the basics. Aside from the numbers being large, these pages are straightforward. He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year. Mazel tov.
So that's it? Talk about a big fat zero, or 6 zeros with a 38 in front of it. Trump paid $36 million in taxes at a tax rate higher than Obama, Comrade Bernie, and MSNBC. I salute you, Maddow. The Pulitzer is in the mail. What's next? Will you be revealing Steve Bannon's disturbing ankle tattoo? I hear it's a dolphin. Huh? So when America hears this news, what do you think they think? Outrage, scandal? No, they think, wow, Trump's rich. Who knew? So how did Rachel fall for this? Trump set it up by fueling the intrigue. Remember when the Roadrunner would paint a tunnel entrance on a rock formation so the coyote would slam right into it? Trump just did that to Rachel. He baited the trap for months, pretending that somewhere lurked the Ark of the Covenant. And now MSNBC has to peel Rachel and her smirk off that stone wall. Trump wins again by the left simply losing their minds and their ethics and their dignity and their self-control. It was awesome. So, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to me first.
Do you think she was right to milk this for all it's worth?
I think she did what she does. She was milking it. She was, as media called, she trolled everybody.
Yeah.
But it was hyped. I'll be honest with you. I tuned right in, at the top of the show, and I was waiting, The problem is she sold it as historically unprecedented, right? And then we get this, and in the aftermath, it's been compared to the Oscar fail by Warren Beatty. It's been compared to Steve Harvey's Miss Universe. It's been called a televised suicide career. Man. But if you look at it this way, she made the story from Donald Trump's tax returns to Rachel Maddow's massive fail.
Right.
The question is, was this an exquisite setup by Donald Trump? Because when you really take the tax return apart, It's great for him.
Yeah.
He paid 25%, a rate of 25% federally. That's not state. That's not local. That's massive tax burden. Higher than Barack Obama paid, higher than Mitt Romney paid, higher, as you point out, than Bernie Sanders, higher than anyone. And you have to say, if it is, like you said, did Trump just paint the tunnel in the front of a rock formation? It feels like it, seems like it. I was waiting to see what the left would do, or I was waiting to see what the rest of the MSNBC crowd would do. So I got up early and I watched my friend Morning Joe.
Yeah.
Took the day off. Scarborough, good job. If you're ever going to take a day off, take this morning off.
He was under his covers in his Snuggie. Exactly. Kimberly, I felt bad for Geraldo because he started trending immediately.
Because of Capone.
They kept comparing it to the vault, and I'm going like, maybe Geraldo finally can lose the vault. It's now Maddow's returns.
People were writing that on Twitter, so I was live for this national massacre. I don't know what was going on. So they said, run upstairs, downstairs, doing O'Reilly with Dana. They said, go up and do Tucker. So I sat there with one earpiece and listening to her, one earpiece listening for like the big reveal.
And all my texts.
And Dana's text back and forth, and we were just like cracking up. And then just waiting for it, I'm like, wow, so this is a Fox News alert. Donald Trump is really rich. I mean, he wins again. And so then the guy that came on that was like, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. Somebody just stuck it in my box. I'm like, okay, that's like, who has like a box? And you mean your email? Like, how did this happen? So then he says, well, maybe it was Donald Trump who did this.
Yes.
He said, and he also may have leaked the nude photos of his wife to the Post. So that was the big breaking news on Rachel's show. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable to me.
I loved it. Dana, she seemed a bit frazzled, and I'm wondering if as it was moving forward, she realized she didn't have anything.
Yeah,
and she started
I got that sense.
Yeah.
I had never actually watched her show.
Yeah.
I had actually never watched an entire 30 minutes. We got to 9:38.
Yeah.
And Peter's like, can we go?
He'd had
and
enough.
Jasper's like, well, we got to get out of here, Mom. She really knows how to bury the lead. And you did get a sense that as she's doing, she's like, maybe no, it's not going to be that big a deal.
Yeah.
And but here's the thing. If the tax returns had been mailed to somebody here,
Right.
we'd have done a story. It might have looked a lot different. Would we have hyped it? I don't know. Maybe not as much. But, I mean, people in show business do this kind of thing. I don't think that any...
Yeah, but you could sense at the beginning that it was going bad.
Yeah, poorly.
Because they had overhyped it so much that it was like...
What did you have... You're an editor. Would you, in your former life as magazine editor,
Yes.
would you have led with the number?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, look, and then I would have laughed about it. Was this a good idea? Should they, to delete like that? I mean.
No, I was just, I didn't see the show, so I was watching your lead-in tonight here, here on the 5, and I was starting to yawn. I mean, it's boring. I was just like, what is
it
going
wasn't
on?
boring.
It wasn't boring.
It was like crazy conspiracy stuff.
No,
Too.
it's just
I don't like
like
conspiracy theories on either side. I've never seen left conspiracy theories like that. At one point I tweeted, who's on first? I don't understand the Russians and the Cyprus and the Cretes and the whatever.
The way it struck me, it was just like blah, 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 and there was no there. But I will say, to my mind, I mean, the effect, if there's a genius to Donald Trump, the genius here would be it distracts from everything else that's really going on.
That's what Rob Reiner said.
And it also, even just staying to the tax issue, he still hasn't put out his tax. We're talking about 10-year-old taxes and just a portion that was revealed on the Maddow show.
He never said that he was under audit for
And this thing about he paid 25%. He paid the alternate minimum tax. That was the least he could pay.
Well, everyone does, Ron.
But I'm
more
saying,
than you have
No, but the point is...
The thing about that is it's
alternative minimum
$31 million
tax.
And I'm saying this guy took such a big write-off. I think he claimed millions in losses. I can't remember exactly how much. 100 million losses.
And America just saw.
And we know that the New York Times had revealed some little bit of another tax return back in the 90s, and in that one, he took $916 million. This is supposed to be a great businessman.
You're reaching. This is
I'm not. This is what he did. This is what we know.
But it's all relative.
And it's all legal.
Yeah.
It's all legal.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
CNBC went after
this is not the
Oh, my God.
CNBC
went after MSNBC. That's like a sister going after her brother. Hey, we have this sound on tape. Donald Trump, as you know, is going to be with Tucker Carlson tonight at 9 p.m. for, I think it's a full hour. I'm pretty sure. Although, who knows? I don't want to over-promote it for 24 hours.
Wait, it could be historically unprecedented.
Exactly.
Tucker will have the first page.
He has Donald Trump's seamless history, I believe. All right, so we have sound and tape of Donald Trump reacting to Rachel Maddow's so-called scoop.
I have no idea where they got it, but it's illegal, and you're not supposed to have it, and it's not supposed to be leaked. And it's certainly not an embarrassing tax return at all, but it's an illegal thing. They've been doing it. They've done it before, and I think it's a disgrace.
So he just comes out of this smelling like a rose.
Winning.
I don't think it smells like a rose because, I mean, the one thing that the left had to say about this that actually I think is substantive is, hey, he reacted right away. Apparently the audit's not a problem, so why is he refusing to release his tax return?
Maybe he is trolling them. He just set him up.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And I mean, to the point of that CNBC article was scathing about what Rachel Maddow did. He said, you helped Donald Trump.
What would you do if you were her tonight? You know, I wonder what show.
I would watch Tucker.
Well, that's what I usually do. That's why I've never seen her show.
You were watching me a little bit too, didn't you say?
You know what this felt like, though?
Yeah, we went in the break.
So rather than in her A block, she came out and she didn't show the first page, basically the money shot. She didn't show it right away. What she did was she took you through these conspiracy theories that Dana referenced. Through, you know, he bought a home, he sold it, but the person he sold it to was Russian.
A Russian oligarch. Trigger word.
And then they start trying to pull at these strings that frankly had no substance. I mean, I've done
but
this
that's
for
how I
years.
feel about conspiracies on the right, too.
Yeah,
but you know what?
I think I hear something.
But these
it must be the wire in my head.
They don't. If you listen to everything she said with this bank,
Right.
with Kelly, brought Kellyanne Connolly into this in the A block.
And Wilbur Ross.
Before they even tell you what the numbers are, it felt like someone had pulled her aside and said, "Hey, by the way, these aren't really bad numbers."
Yeah,
and then between her getting the numbers and tweeting about
it, to write all that stuff.
Yep.
She needed.
I did have a little flashback. When I worked at the Justice Department as a spokesperson there, I was assigned to the tax division as one of the divisions I had to do this answer press calls for. And David K. Johnston would call all the time. The guy is a reporter who knows every inch of the tax code, and the tax code bores me to death.
Yeah. You know what? I wonder if SNL is going to spoof her, but is she sacred ground? Like, if they spoof Rachel Maddow, will it be in a loving way? You know, it'll be the way they do Hillary. It'll be, Trump is still the bad guy, but she was.
David Johnson admitted that he didn't do anything wrong. He's like, he paid what was the legal, amount at the time. It's a proper filing. Doesn't appear to be any illegality. So therefore, maybe Donald Trump sent it to me.
But the big story here would be, why doesn't he release his tax return so we can know about the Russian connection, if it exists, if it doesn't exist? And the audit is not a problem. Come on, Donald Trump, do it, baby. Put it out there.
Two things very quickly. David K. Johnson, the reporter that they had on, also wrote a book last year calling an anti-Trump book.
Yeah.
I think at one point he calls him Carnival Bark or something. So he had a motivation in doing it. And number two, all these people, even my friend Mark Cuban, who says Trump's not a real billionaire. Well, if you make $150 million after taxes, after write-offs in a year, I'm guessing he's a real billionaire.
Yeah. On that note, you can catch more of President Trump's interview with Tucker Carlson at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Coming up, a packed day for President Trump, hitting the road on a 2-state tour. Highlights next.
Was my great sin. What can I?
We're just a couple of hours away from another big Make America Great Again rally for President Donald Trump, this time in Nashville. But before heading to Tennessee, the president visited Michigan, where he praised the great workers of the United Auto Industry for being the backbone of the American labor force.
America will be respected again, and you as workers will be respected again. I ask you today to join me in daring to believe that this facility, this city, and this nation will once again shine with industrial might. I'm asking you to place your faith in the American worker and these great American companies. May God bless the American worker.
So guess who attended the Michigan event today? The U.S. car company CEOs, but also the unions. Trump has a never-before seen before to bring both groups to the table. The result? One, a better business environment. for both. Look,
Yeah,
it brings
yeah.
the unions and the CEOs together.
Right. So the companies bust in the workers from various plants around
That's
because
kind.
yeah, they want to show support to Donald Trump at a moment when he's president of the United States and has power, especially power over these fuel standards that they hope to have decline. They set an agreement with President Obama. They've added jobs with the standards in place, but now they're thinking, hey, especially when it comes to the trucks, we could do possibly better if we didn't have to make the changes. It'd be cheaper. So, yeah, there were union people there.
Yeah, and we heard things that I think both the CEOs and the union workers could bite into, sink their teeth into.
Well, sure. Well, and actually, they are united in terms of wanting to make sure that their companies are successful. So I think that made a lot of sense. I do think that the policy element of this is really interesting and something that is getting, he's in his element there. And so they're loving it, and that's great. But the policy development of trying to say, let's step away from these Obama standards, it wasn't just from an environmental standpoint, it's a safety standpoint as well. So the car companies saying, the more you try to push us in this direction to increase miles per gallon standards, and the physics just aren't there to uphold safety standards that we all want in our country as well. I think that actually didn't get as much attention as it maybe should have.
KG, he's going to head to Nashville, Tennessee tonight. I think he's going to talk health care there.
Yeah, well, listen, this is what he needs to do. Nobody sells things better than Donald Trump, right? I mean, he was able to sell himself and connect with the movement that was powerful and took him straight into the White House. Here, he's really going to need to, ramp it up to be able to get conservatives to get on board, to get the votes that he needs. And he's going to have to use the people out there that put him in office to create a groundswell of support. I think it's a smart strategy. I also think it is a necessary strategy, and he is the best person to do that job. So, and also, I think, he really shines in terms of being able to be out in the field. He is his own best field game.
You know what I think, though? I think he's going to Tennessee, Kimberly, because he's trying to demonstrate that he will put pressure on Republicans who don't back him on the health care deal.
That's smart, though.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think.
He's got to show. He's going to put the pedal.
Turning the page a little bit?
Yeah, I think, why do these rallies matter? It's because Trump is showing that if the media in the entertainment industry and academia won't afford him the honeymoon that other presidents have, he has to make his own honeymoon. Like, remember, Obama never had to do this because he had a built-in honeymoon. It was called the media. He didn't have to.
It was the whole time.
Yeah, he didn't have to please the American people. He had the press in his pocket. And the other good thing is you're seeing a transformation where, compare this block to the A block. This is about fun, and the A block was about fear. So Trump makes the opposition scream and panic. Meanwhile, the Republican Party, for once, is having fun. So one side is fun and the other side is fear.
Yes, because, Juan, in this case, look, typically a Republican president would go in there and he would be loved by the CEOs and hated by the United Auto Workers. Then a Democrat would go in and be loved by the United Auto Workers and disliked by the CEOs. Here's a guy who can go in there and be liked by both.
I do believe that President Obama went in there and not only got GM and Chrysler out of bankruptcy, so he was loved by the CEOs. He was also loved by the workers.
Well, the auto workers got the deal. Shareholders
I'm just telling you,
didn't.
The CEO, he saved their hide, and the unions added jobs.
How about the people who were behind the CEOs, the investors who got smoked in the auto bailout?
How do they get smoked?
Bondholders got destroyed.
No, they got a lower
they
cut.
got destroyed.
They got what they call a haircut. I think that's the language.
No.
Yeah, they got a serious cut.
Serious.
A serious cut. But guess what? In terms of the CEOs and the workers, they made out. I mean, the bigger problem here, I think, for Donald Trump are things like promising, oh yeah, we're going to build a pipeline. We're going to do it with U.S. Steel. Hold on. No. We're not going to. You don't have to use U.S. Steel. It's the same thing with the coal miners. Oh yeah, we're going to go in there. We're going to return your jobs, coal workers. Meet Greg Gutfeld and automation coal miners.
Did I miss the memo? Did he say you don't have to use American
That's right.
pipe?
Yeah, you might have missed the memo.
I think I did miss that memo. But the news. Any final thoughts?
I would say that presidents that go out and try to campaign for their policies are making good choices. And interestingly, like President Obama gave 58 speeches on Obamacare the year before it passed. So he had to get out there as well and try to sell it. Now, the media might have helped him, but he still had to lean on those members of Congress in order to get the votes.
And celebrities.
Bush had to do it in 2001 in order to get the Bush tax cuts. He tried in 2005 on Social Security, and the members weren't there. And so President Trump has to keep these members all together, and pressure on them, I think, is smart.
Okay,
at this
we'll
point.
leave it right there. Next, are Democrats becoming a party of extremists? The alt-left, the deep state, that and more details on the left's so-called resistance when we come right back.
I feel like we're in a Star Wars. Are Democrats becoming a party of extremists?
Yes.
Well, according to an article in Politico, they just might be. Quote, in the nearly 2 months since President Donald Trump was sworn in, a self-described resistance has emerged at mass marches, energetic protests, and raucous town halls from coast to coast. Will the resistance become the left's counterpart to the right-wing Tea Party? The resistance is starting to force the Democratic Party toward its extremes and away from long-held norms of bipartisan give and take. Need more convincing? Here are some examples of the hysteria from the left.
I think that if we do the investigations, that we will find the connections, and I do think that impeachment will be necessary.
We're at a time of increased fear in our country.
Because of Donald Trump?
There is something seriously wrong when mendacity has become the norm. There is something seriously wrong when law-abiding citizens are afraid to leave their home. There is something seriously wrong when hate crimes are surging.
What has he created? He's created nothing except chaos.
All right, what a hit parade that was. Okay, so if only that was recorded. Okay, Greg, care to repeat what you just said?
I was talking about a certain person that betrayed a friend. Cory Booker betrayed Jeff Sessions when Jeff Sessions was up and actually tried to stop him after claiming he respected him, so I have no respect for Cory Booker.
And I added that to what end, because he was going to get confirmed anyway.
And he was co-sponsoring a bill with Sessions.
Yeah, it was just disgusting. But you know what?
I added it was inexcusable.
But let me get to an extremist is someone who recasts violence as protest. And that's what you're seeing right now, that somehow the same people who think words are harmful are now making an excuse for physical violence, as we've seen at various colleges where a professor is sent to the hospital with a sprained neck. And this all starts with the antipathy towards civil society. Once your party becomes the party of anti-law enforcement and you embrace the politics of looting and rioting in New York City and Oakland, you elect Trump. Because Trump became the law and order president. So it's on you. The more extreme you get, the more the Republicans win.
Can I just add, though, that you can keep that extremist group small if you don't give them any fuel.
Yeah.
And this Obamacare debate is, unfortunately, Ryan Care debate is giving the extremists...
You just got off your talking point.
Well, no, but here's the thing. So these town halls, right, they're organic, they're real, but they would die if the Republicans came with something that was better than Obamacare. But what they're basically doing is they're giving the extremist left the same thing you gave the Tea Party, something to fight for, right? That's what those town halls were for in 2009, 2010, and that's why the House flipped. Take that out. Get that fuel out there. Douse that fire with some good, real conservative health care.
But they're going to protest more conservative.
I don't think they will. Yeah. If it works, if it brings their prices down, at some point they go, wow, I have a better insurance bill now than I did before. I'm not going to protest this. But right now, that's not the case.
So, Dana, what do you think? Is it the counterpart to the Tea Party?
Well, it depends on if they can channel something into policy rather than just the personal. So they can't stand the person who became president, and they haven't been able to rally around one specific policy. So, like, the Tea Party was really focused on Obamacare, and there's lots of other reasons for that group coming together, but that was their focus. They weren't successful in denying its passage, but no Republican voted for it, and I think that was important. But you also really see this in academia. And even the left is concerned. So the elder statesmen of the Democrats are concerned that they are just ruining their opportunity to have a seat at the policy debate because they're so crazed with anger that they can't funnel it into something productive.
Juan, when you see the people that have become sort of the face and the branding of the left, of the Democratic Party, you saw in that clip there Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Cory Booker. I mean, what does this give you cause for concern for your party?
No, I mean, those are good people. I like those people. I mean, the problem that exists now is so similar to, I think, what Republicans went through with the Tea Party, in that, you know, if you ask John Boehner, if you ask Eric Cantor about the Tea Party initially, oh, yeah, we can deal with it. You know, we like it. They're galvanizing opposition to Obama, opposition to the Democrats. We won back the House. We won back the Senate. But pretty soon, oh, my gosh, they're overrunning the party's generals.
But Juan,
yeah.
They aren't beating people up. They aren't destroying property.
No,
they aren't threatening. They aren't threatening people's lives.
I mean,
I know. I remember everything about the Tea Party.
Okay, well, because
I was obsessed with it.
The charges were that they were,
they didn't touch anybody.
I don't know.
Didn't touch anybody.
But I'm saying
you can't find it.
No, I'm just telling you that is what the charge was against the Tea Party back then.
But they had
signs. They said they were
misreported it. Remember MSNBC?
You are just being defensive.
No, I'm actually being honest.
I don't think this.
Okay, bring the evidence tomorrow.
I'm just saying. People say this. I don't. If you can say Occupy Wall Street, you want to say Occupy Wall Street?
Yeah, those who assaulted people.
I'm talking about these people who are right
in
now
public. They were radicals.
I'm saying these people who are upset about Trump and who I think are creating a Tea Party-like mechanism, political mechanism on the left. And the question is, can they help Democrats actually win seats? Because that, whether you like the Tea Party the right or not, the Tea Party the right actually helped politically
in terms of the results.
Republicans to win seats.
Because President Obama lost big time in 2010.
Nobody in the Tea Party would tell women to sit home. To go home as a form of protest, a one-sided holiday. Nobody on the Tea Party would do that. That's extreme. Telling half of the population not to go to work and jeopardize their careers.
The Tea Party wouldn't have flipped the House if their sole mission was, we don't like Obama.
Right.
They had the fuel. They had the vehicle to do it with Obama.
And the left tried to paint them as being just against Obama.
Right, but we knew it was all about the policy, and now you can't give the left
what
do you call it? The coffee? The opposite of the Tea Party.
You call it the Pea Party because all they do is pee.
Exactly, the Pea Party. Well, don't give them the vehicle.
Well, they have the vehicle now. It's too late.
They've gone too far for the left.
No, they'll crash the vehicle. They'll climb on top of it and smash the windows.
I'm about to crash this commercial break. Directly ahead, FBI Director James Comey meets with lawmakers about Russia's alleged interference in the election and the president's wiretap claims. Latest next.
New developments on President Trump's wiretapping allegations. Leaders of the House Intelligence Committee say they've seen no evidence that President Obama ordered wiretaps on Trump Tower during the presidential campaign. The committee is investigating the wiretapping charge as part of its probe into Russia's alleged meddling in the election.
We don't have any evidence that took place. I don't think there was an actual tap of Trump Tower. Thus far, we have seen no basis for that whatsoever. President Obama wouldn't physically go over and wiretap Trump Tower, so now you have to decide, as I mentioned to you last week, are you going to take the tweets literally? And if you are, then clearly the president was wrong. But if you're not going to take the tweets literally, and if there's a concern that the president has about other people, other surveillance activities, looking at him or his associates, either appropriately or inappropriately, we want to find that out.
But President Trump is sticking by his wiretapping claim.
But wiretap covers a lot of different things. I think you're going to find some very interesting items coming to the forefront over the next 2 weeks.
Meanwhile, FBI Director James Comey will testify before the House Intelligence Committee on Monday. Also, Comey is reportedly expected to reveal whether there's a criminal investigation into potential Trump campaign ties to Russia, perhaps as early as today. Greg, as soon as I heard the president say that we might hear more in 2 weeks, I thought, oh, no. That means that the media will chase it for another 2 weeks.
Oh, by the way, you look great in white today.
See? Oh, thanks.
Yeah, remember? Because you wore white yesterday, and I said you wore white, and you were upset.
No.
Oh, that's cool.
No, that's actually not what.
That's exactly what happened. You cried during the break, and it was embarrassing. Look,
I wish I could cry because my dry eyes are bugging me.
See, she's crying about her eyes. The left and right are on equal footing here. The left thinks Putin rigged the election, and the right thinks Obama bugged Trump. So have an investigation simultaneously on both and have Judge Judy oversee it.
But does the right really believe that President Obama ordered wiretapping into Trump? Like, I don't know if the right really believes that.
So, look, I've been taking the task for defending Donald Trump for a lot of things. I will tell you, I never took it that President Obama walked over to Trump Tower and wiretapped the Trump Tower. Nor did I take it that he demanded that the Trump Tower get wiretapped. What I do think happens, and we know, first of all, that Trump Tower was surveilled. To what extent, we don't know. We still need to find that out. Who was surveilled at Trump Tower? Allegedly General Flynn, maybe others as well. We'll find out that as well. Let's find out why. It had to be ordered by somebody if it was done legally. Had to be from the FBI, CIA, Justice Department. And if they did, why did they choose to do that? Was it at the behest of the president? And I think that's where Donald Trump is going with it, and I think that's where he's getting in trouble because he's named, Obama rather than saying the Obama administration.
Well, yes, precision is important if you're going to make an allegation like that. And Kimberly, if the White House also asked Congress to investigate. So then you put it into the prosecutor's lap, in this case the chief intelligence officer, to do an investigation. And so Devin Nunes comes out today and says, I don't see any of that.
Right, but he also said the communications from Americans, including Trump, it could have been picked up from ongoing surveillance of foreigners. So perhaps there was, and I was trying to describe this before, like last week, more of an incidental collection in a larger net that was cast in terms of that area and might have been picked up if they were surveilling foreigners. Now, isn't that convenient, right? I mean, it looks suspicious. It sounds suspicious. That's why there has to be an investigation here, but there has to be some clarity and some closure on this because it's a very serious allegation, and you do want to know if perhaps something like this was going on because it would be, you know, a huge problem.
You want to know who ordered it.
That's the point.
You want to know who went to the FISA courts to order it.
What was
Which
the genesis
the president
of it?
could find out if he were to ask them, right?
Instantly, he has the right. If he wants to reveal if there was a FISA order, he can do it. But
if there wasn't, that's even more problematic.
Well, but there's no evidence that anybody was being illegally wiretapped, Eric. And so you guys, I mean, it looks to me like on this, you know, snowy day in New York, you guys are like on a skating rink, you know, trying to get your balance and make excuses and skating around. But
what do you
you're
mean?
not, because you're all
pretty
trying to make
stable
excuses
here.
for the fact that the President of the United States made this outrageous allegation, and even Devin Nunes, head of House Intelligence, who was on the Trump transition, is forced to come out today and say, we don't see any evidence of this.
Was there surveillance on Trump Tower? Can we agree on that?
We don't know.
Well, hopefully we'll get more clarity because there will be that hearing on Monday, as well as Neil Gorsuch, the Supreme Court nominee. So
I forgot about him. I forgot about him.
He's been just shaking
The New York Times didn't forget about him. They wrote a piece about him today. But we're going to have more about that, of course. Up next, though, former Vice President Joe Biden says what many other Democrats are not willing to say about President Trump. His remarks when we return.
Joe Biden changing his tune on President Trump. You may recall during the campaign, the then vice president took shots at then candidate Trump. And just a few weeks ago, Biden also warned the new president about taking on the media and criticizing judges. But yesterday at a press conference at the University of Delaware, the former vice president was asked whether President Trump deserves a chance to govern.
Sure he does. 50 days. That's exactly why you haven't seen the president on any of the shows. I mean, if I was able to charge, you guys would pay me a lot of money to come on the shows. Not a joke. That's why you haven't heard anything from us about that. He deserves a chance. And in fairness to him, this is a man, in my view, who understandably, like all the press thought, didn't think he was going to win.
Kimberly, what do you think of that?
Okay, first of all, I really like Joe Biden. And I think here he's just being honest and decent and saying give him a chance to govern. I think that, you know, he's acting, vice presidential, right? I mean, he's being reasonable, and I think people should. They're so busy being hysterical that they're losing any kind of credibility in the arguments that they're making because mass hysteria has erupted, 56 some days into this administration.
Well, Eric, he's not asking for him to go out to the schoolyard, which is what he was asking. He said he would beat him
Yeah,
up
but you know what, Joe, I agree with Kimberly. For a long time we've said Joe, you know what Joe is? Joe Biden is the anti-Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
He's real. She was completely fake. He would have done a much better job running for president. And there's proof right there. I mean,
they should have ran him.
I love that comment. He's a great guy.
You guys would have gone after him as Uncle Joe.
That is not true. Do you not remember what we said on this show?
We've always
let me hear from Dana. What do you think, Dana?
Well, I think he's a gentleman, a public servant, and a patriot. And also, President Obama is trying to do what he's seen President Bush do, which was to be quiet and to give his successor a chance to settle in, and we'll be there on the other end of the phone, or maybe not by wiretap, if in case there's any advice needed. But I also think that Joe Biden is one of the party elders who is concerned about that left fringe that is growing and that they are not going to be able to win elections if they continue down that road.
Yeah, I think that's the key point on the Tea Party stuff. So do you like Biden? Or
that was my point. The thing is, like, he is a relic of the past, and that's why he probably didn't run, because Hillary was all about identity politics, cheering on victimization. I never really saw them do that. And what were the three things that catapulted Trump? Was patriotism, national security, civil behavior. Those are all bad words on the left. They're very anti-law enforcement. They think you have to be stupid to be proud of America, and he's a relic when compared to that. So now, I've said this before, the Republicans went in the opposite direction. They chose a centrist and not an ideologue. The Democrats are facing the same choice. And I've said, do they go and embrace a Jim Webb, or do they go real left and become Jim Jones?
Well, that's the problem. They're going left. And they pushed Hillary because they wanted the first female president, and they could have had a strong run with Joe Biden. They blew it, and he also loves to do midnight swims.
Wow.
Well, it's widely
all of a sudden, it's St. Joe here at Fox News. Well, one more thing.
You love when they lose. OMG, Dana.
All right, so we talked a lot about this winter storm that hit the East Coast. But I want to bring attention to the wildfires of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. They've been raging all last week, destroying hundreds of thousands of acres in those three states. The ranchers are now returning home to survey the damage. There's a lot of it. The governors have declared states of emergency and disaster in their own states. As they come back, listen to what some of these ranchers have found.
I had less than 3 minutes. That wind was blowing probably 60 or more. Got in my pickup and was able to get out of there. And just that quick, everything is engulfed.
It's a war zone. The gentleman I delivered today, he lost about 35 cows and about 20 calves, and he lost all of his pasture, his fences.
It's pretty devastating to come home, find your home gone, or find your work gone.
And all of those people so stoic and facing this very real problem, so keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely.
Eric.
Okay, so we heard President Trump today talking to the U.S. auto industry. Take a listen to this soundbite.
They explained that the previous administration promised you a so-called midterm review of the federal fuel efficiency standards. Just days before my inauguration, the previous administration cut short the promised midterm review in an 11th hour executive action. Today I am announcing that we are going to cancel that executive action.
Okay, here's why this matters. Very quickly, it's called CAFE Standards, Corporate Average Fuel Economy. President Obama signed it so that by the year 2025, average miles per gallon for a U.S. vehicle had to exceed 50 miles per gallon, up towards 54 miles per gallon. Heritage Corporation scored it, and they came back with this number, $186 billion per year to the American consumer. $186 billion. That's why it matters to roll back that regulation.
KG.
Well explained. Okay, we've got a really cute baby alert here.
All right.
No graphic or animation, however. Okay, check out this baby boy. He's so super cute. And he's seeing his military father clearly for the first time with a new pair of glasses. Look at that cutie patootie. So that's Captain Brandon Caldwell, and he is a United States Air Force guy. Recently returned from a 2-month deployment in Antarctica. And the little baby didn't have glasses when he left. His dad came back after 2 months, and now look at the baby so happy because he can actually see his father for the first time. So it was very, very sweet. What a heartwarming moment, and thank him for his service as well. Oh.
Wanzo.
Well, you know, we all know about big moments between, let's say, between Biden and Obama. But check this out, you know, because everyone loves Biden-Obama memes. Well, apparently Joe did too. Yesterday it was revealed his favorite meme is one where the former VP is expressing his love for Obama. One of the most popular funny captions that's been invented says, "See, doesn't this feel right? Joe, I'm not leaving my wife for you." And then Joe says, "You said we'd be together for," and Obama says, 8 years. I said 8 years. Gee whiz, still waiting for Trump-Pence memes to emerge.
Well, you know what? That was really entertaining, reading memes. All right.
A big...
I hate these people. Aside from people reading memes, you know who I hate? People in yoga pants not doing yoga. People wearing yoga pants at the airport. People wearing yoga pants when they're shopping, when they're drinking. Yoga pants are for yoga. And you know what I also don't like about yoga pants? That the people that wear them are usually hysterical over the environment. Well, get this. You know what yoga pants? They're made primarily of microfibers, plastic, which actually harms the sea life. Little fishes die because of your yoga pants.
Oh, my
God. So if
God.
you are into the environment in this yoga pants, pants. Take off your pants and wear some cotton and save the darn country, to save the world.
Dudes in yoga pants.
Dudes in yoga pants.
What a weirdo. Most men don't complain
I was
about
about
women
to
in
say,
like fitted, nice.
boy.
You know.
Well, it's because you're Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Oh, wow.
Right, the fact is, yoga pants, you're not, when you go to the airport, dress like a human being in public. Wear pants, wear a jacket, wear a shirt. You're not going to the gym. Wear some shoes, and don't bring a giant pillow.
And don't have a man bun.
All right, that's it for us. They're yelling at me. Oh, man buns. I hate man buns and memes. Special report is next. Don't miss Bret Baier's exclusive interview with Senator Chuck Schumer. Yes, we've been waiting for that.
He's going to cry. I think Chuck's going to cry.
Chuck's going to cry. Directly ahead.
Still on?
And there's Trump.